What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Canadian Football Fantasy Fix. I'm Ryan Coop here with your first depth chart update of the week. First game of the week comes Wednesday night between the Ticats and the Red Blacks, and then two games on Friday, so make sure you get those lineups set. Make sure you get them set. Make sure you have guys in there that are actually going to play this week, and hopefully put you some good points on the board and get you to at least a 100-point week this week. If you missed it on Tuesday, all of my positional previews came out. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defense. I've got previews going through every option at all of those positions for you. So go back and check those out. But I'm here today to talk about the depth charts for Hamilton and Ottawa to get you set, because you're going to need to make some lineup decisions based around this game. So let's start off with the Hamilton side of things, and it looks like they'll be lining up exactly the way they did last week when they faced the Stampeders last Friday night. David Watford gets his second straight start at quarterback, and Jeremiah Mazzoli will be his backup once again, like it was last week. Dane Evans still out on the 4-6 game injured list. At running back, on the depth chart, Jackson Bennett listed as the starter, Malik Irons listed as the backup, and Sean Thomas Erlington listed as the third stringer. Now, here's where the water gets a little muddier. Last week they were listed like this as well, but Jackson Bennett got 4 carries, Malik Irons got 8. Irons also got 4 or 5 targets through the air. So I'd be a little bit cautious here on the Ticats running backs this week. They're pretty cheap. Bennett's around 3,000. Malik Irons is a little bit lower than that. So it doesn't hurt you a ton, but if you were like me last week and you took Jackson Bennett thinking, okay, he can get you 7 points or so, and then you put up just 1.6, you're getting a bit of a disappointment there from that performance. And Thomas Erlington's listed as the third string because he's doubtful to play in this game, much like last week, so I'm assuming he's not ready to go, but just be a little bit cautious there that he's not fully ruled out for this game on Wednesday. At wide receiver, still no Brandon Banks, still no Braylon Addison, still no DeVere Posey, although I believe Addison's getting closer. He tweeted this week that he was starting to get closer. Looks like DeVere Posey is off the 6-game injured list and supposedly now on the 1-game injured list. So those two guys are getting closer to being back in the lineup. We're still not really sure on when Banks will return, but it's the same crew once again at receiver for Hamilton. Stephen Dunbar Jr., Jalen Acklin, Tim White, Poppy White, and David Unger III. For the Ticats, and then of course you have Nikola Kalinic at fullback, who is not available to be picked yet in CFL Fantasy. One day. I don't know why. They have some of the fullbacks available and then some they don't. Doesn't really make sense to me. But he's been producing a little bit in that offense as well. So, same crew as last week. They're facing an Ottawa team that you can put up a lot of fantasy points as an offense against. So I do like some of these options here for the Ticats with this lineup. I still like David Watford as a starting quarterback for CFL Fantasy this week. Hovering in that $6,000 to $7,000 range. He's one of the cheaper options, and he's got that good matchup. And I thought he had a decent week last week, and another week under him could have a good one in an ideal matchup with that Ottawa defense. As I mentioned, cautious on those running back plays this week. And part of me is kind of tempted to go in Malik Irons' direction and see if he gets the same level of targets he did last week. It's a pretty low play at around $2,600. So it's very tempting if you want to save money at running back to go in that direction. But he is listed as backup. Bennett's listed as the starter. But I think it is going to be running back by committee this week again for the Ticats. And you'll see Tim White or Poppy White probably get in there even for a couple carries to take some away. And same thing with Kalinic. So cautionary there. But I do like Watford, and I like some of these receiver options. I do like Tim White the best out of all of them. I think he's been a great play week in and week out, and should be again this week for the Ticats as his salary begins to rise a little bit. For the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I believe at this point, let me just take a quick look here. He is up to $36.39, so it's rising. He's no longer quite the value play, but should still be able to put up some good points on the board for you. And defensively, no notable changes there either for the Ticats. Staying pretty healthy and rolling with the same lineup as last week. And a defense that's really, been putting up good performances in the last number of weeks. I really like the Ticats defense as an option against Ottawa this game. Now looking at the Ottawa side of things, a number of notable changes for them coming out of the bye week. Most notably, Kenny Stafford making his first start with Ottawa. Last I checked, let me double check for you here and refresh and see if he's available now. He wasn't earlier. Do we have Kenny Stafford? We do. $5,275 is his price point in CFL Fantasy. You can pick him this week. I'd be a little cautious at that price. There is always the risk that Ottawa's offense is going to crap out again for you. So I'm cautious to go to the higher priced guys like Kenny Stafford or RJ Harris, especially since we haven't seen Stafford play yet this year. I want to see how he integrates into that offense before I go in his direction personally. But you can pick him this week if you are feeling good about that matchup. And with Stafford coming into the starting lineup, Daniel Peterman moves to a backup role. So he will not be starting this week. So if you have Daniel Peterman in your lineup, I recommend taking him out. Over a $4,000 salary, I don't think that's worth it for just a backup receiver role. He'll be the backup to Nate Behar, who will be starting in that slot. Also at wide receiver, again, a lot of changes here. Devontae Dedmon is back this week. He missed last game due to injury. He will be handling return duties again and is a backup at wide receiver to Ryan Davis. So in his absence last game out against BC, Davis did do the return job in Dedmon's place, but Dedmon will be doing that again this week, but does not quite get in the offense as a starter once again. So I'm staying cautious on Devontae Dedmon. I think he's an explosive player, but if he's not getting too many reps on offense, he put up 250 return yards a couple games ago in that big game against Montreal where he put up over 19 points. I don't think he replicates that this week in a backup role. I don't think he can replicate that same kind of production every single game just in returns alone. Also notable, Anthony Coombs, listed as a running back in CFL Fantasy, is for the second straight week starting at slot back. He had a great game last time out, was one of the leading receivers for the Ottawa offense. So I like Coombs in at slot back as a play at running back. If you can get a running back that's basically a receiver and going to get you those reception points, and he comes in at a decently low salary of around $4,500, $4,840 to be exact, sorry. I don't hate that option of an Anthony Coombs. It's a guy I'm considering putting in my lineup. Dom Davis starts at quarterback. Timothy Flanders starts at running back. And then your wide receivers as a whole are RJ Harris, Ryan Davis, Anthony Coombs, Kenny Stafford, and Nate Behar, with Dedmon and Peterman in as backups as well. So I want to see what happens with this Ottawa team coming out of the bye week, because I think we saw some offensive sparks in the last two games with Davis at quarterback. He has another bye week. They brought in some pieces like Stafford to help the team out. I want to see what the mentality for this team is. They've got a tough matchup, I think, with Hamilton on Wednesday night, but I do think there are some fantasy options to be had here from Ottawa. The one other thing I'll say on this game before I wrap this up is be cautious with this game being on Wednesday and not having depth charts for the other two games later in the week. I'm looking at some options on the Ticats side of things. As I've mentioned, I'm looking at some on the Ottawa side of things. Just make sure you aren't painting yourself in the corner of all of a sudden it gets to the Friday matchups and, you have a guy in your lineup and he's not ready to go and he's not ready to play, and then all of a sudden you don't have enough cap flexibility to make proper adjustments and you're stuck either with an option you don't like or an option that is just not playing in your lineup due to that. So make sure you kind of have an idea of where else you want to go, kind of have some backup plans for the games later in the week as well to give yourself that flexibility to make adjustments once those depth charts come out. And once they do come out, I will have a depth chart update out for you on either late Thursday or early Friday to get you set for those two games as well. So get those lineups set for week number 8. And as always, go back, check out the positional previews as I've mentioned. Do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't. If you have any fantasy questions, put them in the comments section. Tweet them at me at CooperTrooper42 on Twitter. That starts with a K, and you can find a link to it in the video description. If you want to play CFL Fantasy alongside myself and other viewers, also check this description. There's a link there to the Canadian Football Fantasy Fix group over on the official CFL Fantasy site. You can play alongside myself and other viewers all throughout the CFL season. That does it for your Wednesday depth chart update. Enjoy the Wednesday night game, and I will talk to you again later in the week for the Friday depth chart update as well. As always, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.